You could call this the news every Nigerian had been praying for. The Nigerian government has announced that it has agreed a ceasefire with militant Islamic sect Boko Haram and that negotiations are ongoing to free the 219 schoolgirls kidnapped by the sect back in April this year in the remote town of Chibok in northeast Bornu State. Details of the negotiations are still very sketchy. Principal Private Secretary of President Goodluck, Jonathan Hasan Tukur, confirmed that the deal was brokered after months of negotiations with the sect. He also confirmed that the release of the Chibok girls was discussed, but did not say if any agreement was actually reached on that. But U.S. broadcaster The Voice of America is quoting the president's aide and the Boko Haram representative in the negotiations as saying the girls will be released on Monday in Chad. The head of the Nigerian military, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, has ordered all field commanders to observe the ceasefire. He gave the directive shortly after a 3-day meeting between a delegation of the Nigerian and Cameroonian armed forces convened to strategize on further collaboration to fortify their common borders against the insurgents. Now, Boko Haram has often used remote border villages in Cameroon as launching ground for its attacks in Nigeria. People are taking the news with cautious optimism, hoping that the ceasefire holds and that the insurgency ends. The Nigerian government says over 12,000 persons have been killed since the Boko Haram insurgency began in the northeast of the country 5 years ago. Several communities have been sacked and hundreds of thousands of people displaced. Some are now refugees in neighboring countries. Well, joining me now on the phone to discuss this dramatic development is security expert Dr. Ona Ekomo. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. Tell me just how do you feel as we speak, hearing this news?
Well, it's quite a cheering news, DG. To hear that there is some form of that is developing in terms of this very unfortunate violent episode in the country. This has been the greatest test for this country since the Civil War, and some people feel that this has been an even more grievous test than the Civil War. But having said that, I think we should really take this offer of a ceasefire from Boko Haram with a pinch of salt, because we have seen them go back on previous offers. We have seen previous offers also reneged by the leadership of Boko Haram that it wasn't duly authorized. So the question is, this Danladi Amadu guy, who is quote-unquote negotiating for Boko Haram, who is he and where does he fit in the hierarchy of the organization? Because and until there is a say-so from the leadership of that very violent organization, there is no ceasefire that will be observed on their side. So I think we have to kind of factor that in and continue to proceed with cautious optimism to see what plays out before we can really say, oh yes, we've come to the end of this episode, this very sad episode in the life of this nation.
But what do you make of the Nigerian government's response? I mean, the Chief of Defense Staff ordering field commanders to maintain the ceasefire. You think it was a positive response from the Nigerian government?
Well, I think a ceasefire does not mean that this is the presence of peace. A ceasefire only means that hostilities should stop for whatever reason. Sometimes ceasefires are declared on battlefronts just so that dead bodies can be moved, just so that certain things can happen. In fact, during World War II, when there were slow pleas that they would just declare ceasefire and the enemies would start sharing secrets and laughing and joking. And then the next day, when the weather improves, they continue the fight. So a ceasefire does not mean that there is peace. The ceasefire means that there should be cessation of hostilities such that certain other processes can take place. Now, if PH is saying that they want to release the girls on Monday next week sometime as an article of good faith, well, that is very welcome. And that will in fact be a concretization of a process of dialogue that we can say is beginning at this point, but it's only beginning. This is not the end of dialogue. This is not, in fact, we've not gotten anywhere yet because there are many things yet to be sorted out. Persons whose hands have been dripping with blood, and I mean, there are so many things to be sorted out in this process. So, but the ceasefire, I think, is not saying that the war is over. It's just saying that hostilities should be terminated while other processes are in place.
Well, you're absolutely correct.
Chief of Defense Staff that the fighting forces should hold their fire. I think it's within his authority to do, and he did the right thing.
But do you think we could be getting close to the end of this Boko Haram insurgency?
That is truly my hope, Sketchy. I hope that we're getting close to it. I hope that this is not another tactical maneuver on their part to regroup and then unleash an even more violent episode. This is beginning to probably give credence to the speculation that Shekau may in fact be dead because we haven't heard from him. If in the next 3 days we don't hear him come out and repudiate the ceasefire, then maybe in fact something's going on.
But finally, what exactly would you be saying to the military at this moment? What do you think it should be doing other than maintaining the ceasefire?
The military should continue all their tactical plans. They should keep their guns well oiled. They should be ready to engage. Nobody should let their guards down because I feel Boko Haram with the highest level of suspicion because they have never shown that they were people to be trusted. And I think it's a very big pinch of salt, really. So I think the military should be ready to engage any moment because, it's only entering another phase. This does not fit it doesn't fit the image that normally goes with groups of this nature. They do not just get to a point and then lay down their arms and say, let's do ceasefire. Groups that are corners of religious fundamentalism, religious fervor, they have to be defeated roundly in battle before they give up. So you can see Al-Qaeda. America has been fighting Al-Qaeda for so many years. And they haven't been defeated yet. So, and these guys, they are an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. So it doesn't fit the normal mood of what these kinds of guys do. But I do hope that maybe the Nigerian variant is a different variant, and that these guys are really ready to lay down their arms and stop killing.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Komu, for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Mr. David.